do you see out there that are the top market shapers in terms of 5G sustainability landscape? What do you see the mobile operators out there doing that is of note?
So Ronnie makes some really good points there. I think we've seen the macro environment impacting on ESG pledges, and we're hearing a bit less about that from many vendors in lots of different industries. But I think telco's staying the course here. I believe the 5G driven sustainability progress requires digital operations platforms that support the cloud enabled agility and flexibility. This includes distributing data workloads across cloud environments according to the requirements of those CSPs, as well as using DevOps frameworks to assure more flexibility and energy management. One of the things that stood out for me recently was a recent Capgemini Research Institute report, and I'm looking here at my notes to make sure I get the title of it right. We'll put that down in the show notes. The report was Networks on Cloud, a Clear Advantage. And that report claims that over half of telecom's network capacity will be totally cloud native within the next 3 to 5 years. Pretty aggressive timeline, but I certainly subscribe to that sort of findings. The report also indicates that operators will spend roughly in the region of 206 million annually on that cloud transformation over the next 5 years. We're seeing a big focus from some of the hyperscalers and some of the cloud native vendors on the telco market to try and capture some of that spend. But really, the way I'd summarize this is organizations are getting in early on a shift to cloud native, and they're most likely to realize value in the terms of economics and environmental sustainability. So it not only hits their goals, but it hits their FinOps goals as well. And telco cloud is set to yield that sustainability benefits just from lower facility emissions, if nothing else. It's reduced physical hardware footprints, less power usage, auto scaling of network on demand. One of the key characteristics of the cloud is the ability to spin it up and down, managing mobile towers, power consumption, and bringing AI and machine learning not only to the infrastructure but to the operations. Plus, as we see mobile operators transition to 5G standalone networks, they're deploying a 5G core, a 5G RAN, a 5G mobile edge computing, and 5G transport domain technologies. And I think all of those are going to be critical to network wide 5G sustainability targets as we look forward.
Yeah, I love that example that you cited, Steve, the Capgemini report. I think it definitely brings out a very important point is that the cloud is going to play a huge role, hybrid cloud, as well as all the cloud distributed implementations that are going to be needed to, make this happen. And with that in mind, Steve, what are you seeing in terms of, the top 5G sustainability criterion? That is, what do you see having the most priority across the mobile operator and 5G network decision makers out there?
I see meeting ESG reporting requirements as embedded in the global reporting initiative. We're seeing that it's the GRI, and then another report and set of standards we're seeing is the Sustainability Accounting Standards SASB. CSPs can burnish and equally importantly market those sustainability credentials of their 5G builds as they look to win enterprises and the end users and consumers. One near and dear to my heart is Vodafone. I think they're the fifth or sixth largest company in my home country, so hold them dear to my heart. Um, Vodafone's committed to supporting the delivery of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, across its sustainability initiatives. Specifically, Vodafone's focused on its planet pillar targets, which will reduce environmental impact by reaching net zero emissions across its entire value chain, aiding customers in reducing their own carbon emissions by 350 million tons by 2030, and driving action to reduce device waste and progressing against its own target to reuse, resell, or recycle 100% of network waste. I mean, I think those are just critical um, as we look at where everything's going with climate change. where the market's going. I think those are bold and sort of stick with what I know from Vodafone. We're also seeing organizations and CSPs gain sustainability progress through encouraging individual units and corporate functions to integrate relevant 5G goals into their strategic sustainability and business planning while holding themselves accountable. This takes on paramount importance as 5G supports more concurrent connections and greater data throughput than the prior generations. That's just going to result in more energy demands to scale much larger traffic loads and processing more intricate tasks swifter. So, I mean, you look at that as the backdrop. It's absolutely crucial that some of the CSPs, the vendors, and everybody in this ecosystem focuses on their ESG goals.
Yeah, excellent point, Stephen. And I endorse the shout out to Vodafone, obviously a home country fave. And yeah, no, I see them definitely executing on their plan, and that's why I think they definitely merit that attention. And in addition, I believe to help optimize 5G sustainability outcomes, the CSPs need to show commitment toward investing in clean, renewable energy sources such as solar and wind. And I believe through a specific pledge to use clean energy, I believe that CSPs can accelerate the fulfillment of their sustainability goals while also stimulating the energy efficiency of their 5G builds. And we already touched on 5G standalone as being essential, really, to advancing 5G sustainability. Now, for example, I'm going to turn back to T-Mobile because they were the first operator in the US to attain Renewable Energy 100 recognition as verified by the Climate Group. And T-Mobile achieved this because it's quite simply invested in energy, renewable energy, as a priority, and that included agreements with multiple virtual power plants and other initiatives that came together to allow them to attain that recognition. So that I think is important. Also, notably, for example, 36.3% of the Orange Group's electricity originates from renewable sources. So, Orange, I think, definitely also gets a shout out here. And they're doing this by including sites using solar energy and also expanding the use of digital tools to protect biodiversity and achieving a 12.1 decrease in CO2 emissions across the scope 1 and 2 emission ranges. And we'll touch more on what the scopes mean. And those scopes have been set forth by the 2001 Greenhouse Gas Protocol. And this is something that is driving a lot of this, in terms of specifically carbon dioxide emission reductions or CO2, and hitting them as part of an integral plan, a strategic plan to achieve these sustainability objectives.